What's going on, guys? Welcome to the weekly live chat. I'm a little bit late, but I told you guys. But I told you guys that I was going to be a little bit late today, yesterday, when I did a stream last night. But either way, we're still going to do about an hour and a half stream tonight. We got a lot to talk about. We can recap UFC 2. I missed it 270, 280, UFC 280. We can talk about Makhachev versus Volkanovski. We can recap UFC 280. We can talk about Aljamain Sterling, Henry Cejudo, which is being speculated upon. We can talk about Sean O'Malley getting a robbery win over Petr Yan. And I'm sure there's probably other news that I missed today that you guys will probably fill me in on and I can give you guys my opinion on. But I'm just on here. We're going to talk some MMA, enjoy ourselves post UFC 280. We can talk a little bit about Calvin Kattar, Arnold Allen, but UFC Vegas 63 is just a fucking turd. So we got plenty to talk about today. Throw the questions in the chat. I would greatly appreciate that if you guys fill the chat with questions. It is October 26, 2022. We are currently sitting at 5,620 subscribers. So the channel's doing well. We're creeping towards 6,000. We're going to get there very, very soon. I can't believe UFC 280 is behind us. I really have a lot of videos I really need to do. We talked about this last night. I'm going to try to get a video out tonight. Maybe 10 o'clock tonight or so. We'll see. I want to do my bantamweight matchmaker videos, but I have so many side-by-sides I have to make. So it may be out tomorrow. It might be out tonight. I already have my top 3 things I love and hate about UFC 281 ready to go. So I got to make those videos very, very soon. I'm going to grade UFC 281 next week, early next week, maybe Monday or Tuesday. And there's really a bunch of other video ideas I kind of have that are kind of And I'm sure there'll be more news. There's a video I want to do about Yuri Prochazka and the USADA, the whole USADA thing. Because he's being tested so frequently, I think there's more to that story. And I feel like we're going to find out some more information soon, per sources. Per sources, someone's going to ask Dana White about that very, very soon. Because that's not normal that Yuri Prochazka is being tested that much, okay? There's something more going on. There is something more to that story. But I'm sure we'll find out soon enough, probably by UFC 282. Which, by now, it's officially confirmed. They sent out a press release. Yuri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira 2 for the lightweight heavyweight title is the main event of UFC 282. So there's that. And everything to do with UFC 280. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I just want to pull this up real quick so I have it on hand. How did I end up here? That's annoying. X out of that. YouTube. And I'm sure you guys will probably ask me about a million other things that I have not even heard of yet, which seems like every live chat we do that. But I'm going to answer all your guys' questions here in a minute. Appreciate you guys for joining me. If you have not yet, do me a favor and like the stream. I greatly appreciate it if you like the stream. Also, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this replay and you're not subscribed, go subscribe right this very second. All right. Here we go. Hey, good day. I hear Petr Yan is questioning himself about leaving UFC because the company never had its back on the last 3 times they were questionable. Doesn't surprise me, man. I don't know what the UFC could have done. There's nothing they could do. But, I feel like at least with the last one, they could say, you know what, we're going to treat him as if he did win that fight. Petr Yan's in a terrible situation where he could easily be 4-0 in his last 4 fights. But instead he's 1-3. So it's in a super unfortunate. The illegal knee is his fault. Aljamain Sterling, though, he decided to flop around and steal the victory, but it's Jan's fault. I don't know what the UFC could do, though, outside of just treating him as if he won. Give him the trilogy fight with Aljo. I think a lot of people will be interested to see that trilogy. I think Aljamain Sterling is grinning ear to ear that Yan lost that decision. Because Yan is the worst possible matchup for Sterling, in my opinion. And I think Sterling would easily beat him in a trilogy. I thought he beat him in the second fight. But even so, the first round, you could say, was close. But I think Yan beats him. But I'd be upset if I was Yan, too. Imagine you thought you won your last 4 fights. You should be world champion, but instead, you're now on a 2-fight losing streak and lost 3 out of your last 4. I'd be super upset too, and I'd want to leave too. I'd be like, this is bullshit. You know? I'm losing fights I shouldn't lose. And had Yan got that decision, nobody would be saying it's a robbery for O'Malley. There's not a soul that would say that. What's up, French fries? What's up, homework? We are here. Aljo versus O'Malley. Next, F. Cejudo. Not going to happen, my friend. Not going to happen. I do not believe that the UFC wants to sacrifice Sean O'Malley to Aljamain Sterling yet. Just yet. I think they want to protect their investment and give him a more winnable matchup. What that fight may be, Corey Sandhagen or Cheeto, I don't know if that's much of protection. But I can say, you know, the probability of O'Malley beating Aljo, I would say, is less than 10%. It's just a bad stylistic matchup for him, and I think the UFC wants to delay in hopes for a better matchup. What's up, Dabrowski? What's up, Billy? Did you see the clip I sent about in Discord about Joe Rogan talking about Sean O'Malley fight? What are your thoughts on his opinions around damage? Look, I don't want to be disrespectful, Jackson. I could give a rat's ass what Joe Rogan had to say about the fights, okay? I'm sorry. I could give a rat's ass. I have a $75 bet that Alex Pereira KOs Izzy. You think that's a good or bad move? I wouldn't be too confident in it. I wouldn't be too confident in it, to be quite honest. I mean, it's possible. But if someone offered me that bet, I wouldn't want to take the Pereira KO side of it. Yo, I feel Sean O'Malley lost that fight. I mean, most people do. I think most people are sensible enough to watch that fight and know O'Malley lost. O'Malley knows he lost. Tim Welsh knows he lost. Everyone knows he lost. But they're just pretending as if it's not. Okay? You will never convince me that Sean O'Malley didn't think he lost going to the scorecards. You will never convince me that Tim Welsh didn't think he lost going to the scorecards. They got gifted a decision. It's not their fault. It's not Tim Welsh's fault. It's not Sean O'Malley's fault. It's the judge's fault. So I don't blame them. But deep down, they know. They know they lost that fight. And even if it was so close that he got a split decision, run it back then. They won't be asking for that. They won't be asking to run back a 5-rounder with Yan. But that's what they should do. That's the right thing to do. Give Yan a rematch. What's up, Joey? Do you think fighters competing with major injuries makes any sense? What was TJ hoping for? I mean, I could say he has heart, but I feel like it was a waste of a fight. I don't know what he was hoping for. I guess a paycheck. Because realistically, there's not a high probability he wins that fight with a shoulder injury. So my guess is the only thing I can think of is he wanted that paycheck. I feel like TJ probably knows he's a shell of his former self without the EPO. That's what I think. I think the EPO has ruined TJ Dillashaw for good. I think he abused it for years. I think he abused it when he took the title off Renan Barão. I think he abused it when he chinned Cody Garbrandt twice. I think he abused it time and time again. And I think now that he cannot use it because he's under increased scrutiny, I think his body's falling apart. I think he's getting up there in age in a division that is not forgiving to age. And he decided, you know what? This is going to be my biggest paycheck I can get. I may never get this shot again. I'd rather go in injured, lose, and get the paycheck rather than never get a title shot again because the EPO is not there to boost my performance, my recovery, my stamina. And it's unfortunate. You know, TJ Dillashaw, in my mind, is retired to me at this point in time. Who did it better, Yan, O'Malley, or Sandhagen? Who did what better? Who did better versus Yan, O'Malley or Sandhagen? Definitely Sandhagen. I could give this decision to Sandhagen more than I could give it to O'Malley. Would you like Emmett TKZ in fight night in February? Who you got? No, Emmett's the number 1 contender right now. Why would he fight TKZ? But if I had to pick somebody, I'd pick Emmett. Islam is willing to go to the people's backyards without complaints, which makes the fights get booked quicker. Got to admire that caring attitude. We'll see. We don't know if that's true. We don't know if that's necessarily true or not. But we'll see. O'Malley is a UFC project. Exactly. Sup, Joey? What's up, bro? Yan won at the UFC did when Aldo lost against Marlon. UFC still gave him a title shot against Cejudo. That's what they should do. I want to see Sterling Yan 3. I bet you Sterling wouldn't want that fight. I don't think Sterling wants that fight in a million years. I think he knows Yan's a bad matchup for him. Yeah, I agree. Yan has no room to be upset with the UFC. Yeah, it's super unfortunate. He's in a terrible spot. He's in a terrible spot. UFC should give him a title shot. Honestly, that's what I would be down with. I don't think Sean O'Malley wants the title shot. I don't think the UFC wants to give Sean the title shot, just because they know that he doesn't match up well. So might as well appease Yan, give him a title shot. Could you see O'Malley being the UFC's biggest star within 2 years? Absolutely not. I just don't see how he can get a belt and hang on to it in that bantamweight division. But it's possible. It's very possible, and he will be very popular in the next 2 years. A pay-per-view star? I don't know. That remains to be seen. Since O'Malley's number one contender right now in the division, who do you think they will give him a title shot? Won't get a lot of pay-per-views, or would O'Malley get worked in the whole fight? Why don't you think they will give him a title shot? I just answered that. I think they don't think he'll win, and they'd rather give him another year or so of kind of preparing for that style matchup of Aljamain Sterling and improve himself and hopefully increase his probability of winning the fight. Because if he can keep the fight standing against Aljo, I'd pick, if you told me O'Malley can keep the fight standing against Aljo, I'd pick O'Malley 10 times out of 10. O'Malley would starch him badly, but he's not going to be able to keep it standing. So I think the UFC is hoping to delay for a more favorable matchup as a title holder, or just O'Malley can increase his skill set and be more prepared for that matchup. Who's going to win, Volk or Islam? Probably Islam. Would Yan have finished O'Malley in a 5-rounder? For sure. I bet good money on that. I bet good money on that. Okay, it jumped all the way down. Who would you take in a Yan and Volk fight if they were the same size? I'd probably take Volk. Who has a better chance against O'Malley, Petr Yan in a rematch, or Aljo? I think they both beat O'Malley badly. Who going to win? Volk already answered that. Could O'Malley win it a round right now, currently, versus Aljo? I mean, anything's possible. He would have to keep it standing, but I don't think he would be able to. So I'll say no. But it's hard to say. Imagine this card. John Jones, Francis, Aljo, Cejudo, O'Malley, Cheeto. That would be sick. Sign me up for that, Aiden Nixon. And thank you for the Instagram message earlier. I greatly appreciate you, Aiden. Always fill me in when you see stuff about me online. I greatly appreciate that. By the way, guys, if you don't follow me on Instagram or Twitter, it's at MMA Joey C. Go follow me on Instagram, on Twitter. On Twitter, I'm always going for people's throats when they have terrible takes in MMA. So go follow me there, and I've been trying to be more active on Instagram, so go follow me. And that would be an amazing card. Sign me up for that card. That'd be a hell of a card. Watching it live, I thought Sean won the first, but after watching a breakdown, my opinion has changed. I mean, there's no way Sean won the first, in my opinion. I just can't see it. Dana already said Cejudo named for Sterling. They will not risk O'Malley getting ragdolled by luckiest champion ever in Aljo. I think so. I don't think the UFC likes Aljo very much. I mean, he rubs people the wrong way. I don't think Aljo is ever going to be popular no matter what he does. Unfortunately for him, Aljo's just not going to be popular with the fans. I just don't think he's going to. A lot of these circumstances aren't his fault. But when he just talks, he just rubs people the wrong way. Like the way he's being super vocal on Twitter saying like, yeah, I popped TJ's shoulder out of socket and then beat the shit out of him. He may very well beat the shit out of him regardless. But the dude was injured, and it robbed us of a competitive fight, and it's unfortunate. And it's not Aljo's fault, but he's already looking like a shit stain for the way he's acting afterwards. Already answered that. How do you see a rematch between Yan and O'Malley going? I think Yan would beat him more decisively than he did the first time. What's up, Iceman? Stopping by to show some support. Thank you, live feeding. That's exactly what TJ did. He wanted to check the robbers of a fight. Exactly. What effects does the substance that he took have? EPO, from my understanding, increases your red blood cell count, which helps with stamina and recovery. So it helps you train more because you can recover faster, and then it helps increase your stamina. It's what cyclists take, and they have to inject it into their butt cheeks. So they can't just say, oh, tainted supplement. Tainted supplement. No, it's not. He injected it into his asshole, and he said, you know what? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go beat the brakes off of Renan Barão twice. I'm going to go take Cody Garbrandt's chin twice. And then I'm going to try to close down the flyweight division. And I know TJ has the out, and a lot of people regurgitate this. Well, they went back and tested the samples. That shit only, from what I understand, if you're out there microdosing EPO, it only stays in your system for like 24 to 48 hours. So he just got unlucky or made a mistake, and that's how he got caught. And I think the proof of those samples being tested, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. He was using it his entire career, in my opinion, or at least for a large portion of it. And that's, I never talked about it on this channel because I didn't have a channel back then. TJ's the one guy I always thought was on EPL because the way he was throwing 100 punch combinations in the 5th round of a title fight, I mean, that was just something you didn't see in MMA. And I remember I had a friend that was a hardcore fan for a while, and we used to talk about it all the time. And I remember I was actually working night shift the night that TJ popped, and he called me up and said, dude, we've been talking about this for years. And sure enough, it was EPO. Sure enough. But I'm not an expert on PED, so I don't know. I think that O'Malley lost, but despite that, I was super impressed by his performance. In my opinion, his stock has risen. I agree with that. I agree with that assessment. Who would win Islam versus Khamzat at 170 if something happened in the future? Khamzat would beat the brakes off of Islam. I think he's too big, too strong. Striking is better. But it'd be interesting for sure. What's up? Keep out. Hope you're doing well. What's a bigger robbery, Sean versus Yan or Jorge versus Ali Quinta? I don't know. I'm going to say Sean versus Yan. I want to see Yan versus Font. Yan would destroy Font badly. Were you surprised or unimpressed with the O'Malley grappling skills and scrambling? I was impressed, but not like crazy impressed because, and this is what pisses me off, people keep saying that Yan did no damage in the grappling. Yan was constantly looking for ground and pound, and he landed some decent ground and pound throughout this fight, and he wasn't prioritizing top control. He was kind of letting O'Malley scramble back to his feet. And, I mean, I don't want to say he was letting him. O'Malley did a good job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to diminish that. But Yan wasn't prioritizing keeping him down. He was prioritizing, punching him in the face. And on a lot of those instances, O'Malley was finding his way back to his feet. What's up, MMA experts? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by, man. I appreciate the support. Hope you are doing well. Hope the channel's doing well. Hope everything in your life is doing well, my friend. Chances of Aljo subbing O'Malley in the first round, I'd say 40% maybe. What do you have in a prediction, Chito Vera versus O'Malley too? I'd probably take Chito. I think O'Malley would look good early, but I think Vera just has a way of finding those kill shots in later in rounds. So it'd be very interesting though. I want to sign me up for that fight. Prime Dominic Cruz or Yan, I'd take Yan. I heard Colby versus Khamzat's being scheduled for March. Fake news, my friend. People just regurgitate these fake Twitter posts of people just throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks. And it's actually super annoying because they pretend like it's 100% real and it's not. It could very well happen, but that's fake news as of right now. It's not coming from any legitimate sources. It makes sense. Again, it makes sense. It could happen, but we'll see. Do you think the first round of Aljo versus TJ could argue it as a 10-7? No, it could be a 10-8. Not 10-7. 10-7s are impossible to get. O'Malley, Petr Yan rematch. Will Petr Yan go for the KO or finish? No, I think he'll fight the same way, and I think he'll win. And maybe he'll get robbed on the decision again. Sup, Mukhtar, appreciate you. I don't understand why Conor gets so much hate. The guy was double champ in 2016. He's literally doing what most people unfortunately do when they make 100 millions. Most lose touch. I mean, I don't know how you can't understand the Conor hate. Dude sits on the sidelines talking shit 24/7 while punching senior citizens in bars. Meanwhile, anytime any MMA fighter is getting any attention, he has to tweet out and talk shit about him. I mean, I don't know how you can't understand that. Is Islam on steroids? How is he so jacked? Dude, I can't diagnose people from looking at pictures. People on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram like to do that. I can't do that. EPO is so hard to catch. Definitely others doing it under the radar. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. That's why I say I'm never going to diagnose someone off Instagram pictures like some, there's some YouTubers that people always tell me, go check out this guy. He's an expert on steroids and blah, 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 blah. While it's interesting speculation, we can't diagnose guys off of Instagram posts. But EPO is very hard to detect. And they had a problem with it in cycling for a while. They probably still do. I'm not an expert on that. But, I bet you there's plenty doing it. I agree 100%. MMA experts. Are they going to target Chito versus O'Malley too? It wouldn't surprise me if we don't. I said this yesterday. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't see O'Malley for a while. I think O'Malley is smart. I think O'Malley makes plenty of money doing other things, streaming, selling merch. I think he's going to want a big contract from the UFC next. And I don't know if the UFC is going to be willing to oblige him with that. I was thinking during class today, if they gave the fight to O'Malley when they could have easily gave Rockhold a win over Costa. There you go. There you go. The 17-year-old from Dana White's Contender Series is fighting on 282, just saw. Rosas, what is it? Raul Rosas Jr., right? That's interesting. Interesting. Guess he's taking Bo Nickal's spot. Am I the only one that wants to see Sugar Sean versus Corey Sandhagen? No, I think that'd be a fun matchup. Hamzat Chimaev emoji. What's matchup is Colby waiting for if he doesn't want the Hamzat matchup? A matchup he can win. Guru made a video of many moments Sean cheated in the grappling wrestling sequences, which definitely helped him get back to his feet. I think I mentioned it in my robbery video. When he Granby rolled, he grabbed the fence 3 or 4 times. I can't remember if it was in my post-fight or in my robbery video. I mentioned that, and I also mentioned there was illegal elbows to the back of the head of Petr Yan when he was in on a takedown as well. Sean tweeted quite a few times in there, so it doesn't surprise me somebody made a video about it. And the ref was catching him too, a lot of the cheats though. I mean, look at Conor. Conor got away with so many cheats in the Khabib fight. I think Sean has all the skills to be bantamweight champion for years, but honestly, I don't know if he has enough grit. All right. Mike Bisping was talking about it on his channel a few hours ago. What was he talking about? Crazy that fans are claiming O'Malley dominated is meat riding at its finest. Yeah, it's just deep throating O'Malley terribly. Disgusting. Heavyweight DC or Francis? I'd go DC, honestly. Prime DC. What's your early prediction for Hooker, Puelis, and Pimlet Gordon? I'm probably going to go Hooker and Pimlet. Puelis has to get you down to beat you. I think Hooker has decent enough takedown defense. Pimlet Gordon, you know, I don't trust Pimlet at all, but I think this is a matchup he wins. I think he's much larger than Gordon. Probably gets it done with his wrestling. Bilal versus Colby is highly underrated potential fight. Equal wrestling and equal striking. It will be a replica Usman versus Colby 1. Yeah, I mean, I like that fight too. I want Bilal versus... I want Colby versus Hamza is what I meant. Thoughts on Guru saying O'Malley has a good chance against Aljo if he gets his grappling better? I mean, if anyone can keep on their feet against Aljo, they can beat him. Anyone in the top 15, if they can keep it on the feet. Aljo has atrocious striking. What fight was most likely UFC to target for O'Malley? Probably the Chito Vera fight. Sean will never be able to compete with Aljo grappling-wise. Lamau, I agree. Colby and Hamza is looking more promising day by day. Boys, one of my most hyped fights for sure next to O'Malley Chito too. I hope they make it as well. I really do. It's a big fight. It's a massive fight. It's an incredible fight. It's an incredible matchup. It's a notable fight. It's an amazing stylistic matchup. I mean, there's nothing not to like about Colby versus Hamza. Okay. Where were we at? Who would you like to see Drew Dober fight next? I don't know. Doesn't he have a fight? I feel like I can't remember. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Maybe Joel Alvarez. How to edit YouTube videos and make thumbnails? I'd start with Filmora and Canva. That's what I would start with. When you think you'll be dropping the things you love, hate about 281? When I did it for 280, I did it 3 weeks out. So hopefully sometime the next couple days. I already have my list made. I actually made them like right around the time I made the 280s because I was like, can I make this as a frequent video? And I already have the things I hate. It's not hard to find the things I love, but I like to be more than just like surface level. Like, oh, I love this fight. You know, that's kind of stupid. There's no point in making that video. I'd like to have like an intricate reason, you know. But I'll probably be making it. I don't know. If I had to guess, earliest would be Friday, latest would be next Monday, Tuesday. But I want to make a bantamweight matchmaker video. I want to match up the whole top 15. And then that's probably next on my list. Depending on what news comes out is probably next. Things I love, hate about 281. You know, I'm telling you, I'm sure you probably know this. I don't know how much graphics you put in, but like, I like to make some decent like side-by-sides and all that good stuff for videos. And it's just like, Making one video takes a long time. Like, people don't realize that. I'm sure you understand that. But very, very soon. Thank you for asking, my friend. Bro, I couldn't imagine fighting a grown-ass man all day at 17 years old. Yeah, very true. That is very impressive for Rosas Jr. Did hookers lose to Islam age well? Yeah, for sure. It aged very well. Who does Oliveira fight next? I actually wouldn't mind seeing him fight Holloway, and Dariush can fight the winner of Poirier versus Chandler. I wouldn't mind seeing him. I don't want to see him fight Holloway. I want to see him fight Dariush. Dariush. I'm picking Gordon to TKO Patty in round 2. Okay. Who do you have in a full camp? McKinney versus Dober. McKinney. Yeah, I have no idea what this guy's talking about. I've never seen your name in my entire stream ever, so you're just making shit up now. What are your thoughts on the game plan Volk will have against Islam? Really enjoy the show. Thank you, Clint Aid. I think Volk is just going to try to keep it striking. I mean, that's most people's game plan with Islam Makhachev. I think that's most people's game plan, and I think that's what he has to do if he wants to win. Land the better shots on the feet, keep Islam out of the clinch position, and keep upright. That's what I think he needs to do. Honestly, I still have Hooker. I still think Hooker still has it. He got caught against the hardest hitter in Chandler, beat Haparas, lost to Islam, the champ, and then completely drained himself and lost to Allen. Yeah, and he didn't look terrible in the Allen fight, but yeah, I think Hooker could be back. I think, you know, that Poirier fight took his soul a little bit. Okay, honestly, okay. Who has the wrestling advantage in Hamzat versus Colby? In my opinion, Hamzat has the wrestling advantage while Colby has the gas tank. I don't know, man. I think it's 50-50 as far as the wrestling goes. I would slightly lean Hamzat, but just because he's bigger, Colby definitely has the better gas tank. What's up, Sager? Aljo may be better than I give him credit for. What do you think? I don't know what kind of credit you give him, so I don't know. I think he's very good. I get Bilal looked good standing, but Brady looked pretty damn bad on the feet. Yeah, Brady's always had horrible striking. Bisbang said it was almost official with Hamzat versus Colby. Okay. I think he's full of shit, and I think he's falling for these fake stories. You know, that people just circulated on Instagram and Twitter, and it's all bullshit half the time. Who would you predict? Let me see. Hold on one second. Hold on one sec. Guys, keep throwing the questions in the chat. I would greatly appreciate it. Oh my God. Autocorrect is so annoying. Guys, do me a favor if you have not yet liked the stream. I do these streams all the time. If you guys like the channel, subscribe. We're almost to 6,000 subscribers. Who would you predict to win in a Pedro Munoz-O'Malley rematch? I would pick O'Malley, but I picked O'Malley initially as well. You think Josh Emmett will end up fighting for the title eventually? If so, when? I'm going to say he never ends up fighting for the undisputed belt, but he maybe ends up fighting for the interim belt and then losing. Yeah, Sean Brady's striking against Bilal was atrocious. Made Bilal look good. Agreed. Looking forward to it. I'm glad you enjoy those videos. A lot of people have told me they like those videos, and nobody makes those videos. Those are kind of unique to my channel. At least I feel like. I've searched around. I haven't found anything like that. So it's very unique. And also because the certain things I pick, it's not like it's super recreatable, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And a lot of people told me they wanted me to continue to do it for the pay-per-view, so I'm going to continue to do it and look for just little minuscule things. It was kind of the idea for those videos came from, I hated UFC 279, and I made a video about how much I hated UFC 279. And then I thought in my head, I said, this would be hilarious to do for UFC 280 because 280 is such a GOAT card on paper. It'd be funny. And then I said, well, wait a second, that's a great idea. And then I kind of looked at the card and then I picked apart a couple things. And that's how I ended up on the video that I ended up doing. I'm excited for Bantamweight Matchmaker. A lot of people have been harassing me. I wanted to do it last night. I just didn't have the time. The UFC 280 hangover is real. Nothing too fun until 281. Yeah, but 281 ain't that far away. Bantamweight is my new favorite weight division. What's your favorite fighter in all of bantamweight? My favorite fighter at bantamweight is either Chito or Yan, probably. Feel that, bro. Editing my betting breakdown, definitely worth it, though. Yeah, I like to throw a bunch of different stuff in there. Not too much. I mean, mine are very simplistic in my edits, but I just think it makes it more worth watching from a consumer's point of view. Like, I like to watch stuff when someone talks about a certain fighter. I like to see a picture pop up. So I'm just trying to improve and grow. But yeah, it's not. People think it's way faster than it actually is. Do you think Yuri Glover are going to end up being the main event? I believe yes. I believe it already is. Why is everyone saying Gamrot is new young blood in the division? He'll literally be 32 in December. I guess because he hasn't been in the UFC for too long. Who should they give Jalen Turner next? I want to see them sacrifice Gregor Gillespie to Jalen Turner next. Yo, Joey, let's get a poll. Islam versus Volk. Remind me in a few minutes. I'm trying to catch up in the chat right now. I hate being like far behind. I'm not that far behind, so I can probably catch up right now. So just remind me in a few. Who had a better career, Mighty Mouse or Anderson Silva? Anderson Silva. Who would you pick to have your back in a street fight, Nate Diaz or Sean O'Malley? I mean, Nate Diaz is riddled with CTA at this point. I pick O'Malley. What do you think about the next UFC 281? It's a solid card. Higher MMA IQ, Jones or GSP? I'll say Jones. If Volk beats Islam, becomes double champ, where does he rank in the GOAT discussion? Very, very highly. My problem with Henry is, will he even defend the title if he faces Aljamain Sterling? He's more interested in a Volk fight, but Dana rather have him potentially hold up 35 for the win and move up. I hope not. If he wins the belt, I want to see him defend. So I hope he doesn't move up. Does he? I don't know. The division is going to be weird, though. Volk may be at 55 at that point. I doubt you answer this, but who has the best tattoos in the UFC? I say Chito Vera for sure. I have no idea. I don't be looking over guys' bodies and their tattoos in the UFC and be like, yeah, man, that guy's got sick tattoos, bro. Yeah, that's all. So, I don't know. Colby will duck Hamzat till the day he dies. Dude's in witness protection. I predicted that 280 was mid. Now I'm predicting 281 is going to be the best pay-per-view of the year. I don't believe a word you say, JJ Smoke. Who has a better chance against Yan, Chito? Who has a better chance against Yan, Chito, Vera, or Aljo? I say Vera, probably. I think Aljo loses for sure. Yeah, Cody's tattoos are pretty clean. All right. Who would you like to see Magomed Mustafayev fight next? His last 5 fights have all been canceled. I think him and Malarkey would be a banger. Sure, the Malarkey fight would be fine. I'd say just cut him at this point. His fights constantly get canceled. Doesn't he have a win? Correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't he have a win over Rafael Fiziev, I believe? I hope Chandler gets Dustin Poirier, in my opinion. He's a better matchup for Beneil, Charles, and Islam matchups. Yeah, probably, but he's not going to. What would have been a bigger upset if Nate Diaz beat Hamzat or if O'Malley beats Aljo? If Nate Diaz beat Hamzat. I mean, Nate Diaz beating Hamzat would literally be like a infant child beating up, Floyd Mayweather in his prime or something along those lines. Crazy that the last UFC lightweight to lose their title in the cage was Eddie Alvarez. That is very true. That is very true. Did not realize that. Future for Yan after back-to-back controversial losses. There isn't anyone in the division he can really fight with logic. Other than Chito, what do you think? I say they let Yan beat up Merab. I want to see Gamrot versus Jalen, to be honest. That'd be a fun fight. Hamzat is going to run through every single person at 170 if he makes weight. Yeah, the key word, if he makes weight. If he makes weight. I don't know. I don't know if he will, though. Is John Jones the only fighter you say had a better career than Silva? I don't know. It's debatable. I would have to look at it side by side and really decide. And I just took a water out of it. I tried to take a drink out of an empty water. And these damn Aquafina bottles are you just keep twisting them and they don't crack. So now I just got to sit here and try to mess with this damn thing. Okay, there we go. Super annoying. I just twist and it doesn't come off. Hot take. I want to see UFC to re-sign Eddie Alvarez for a one-fight deal and Chandler loses, they can do the trilogy. I like that idea. If Gamrot stand up better than Fiziev, no. Not in a million years. I feel bad for Charlie Olives. I think a lot of people do. Thank you for the 13 months of membership, the demon. I appreciate you. Joey, who is Aljo going to fight, Cejudo or O'Malley? I think he's going to fight Cejudo. MMA Joey, thoughts on the MMA holes? I don't have any thoughts on them. I don't watch them. I know they exist only because one time they came into my stream. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I definitely wouldn't watch them. I'd rather jump into wood chipper. But from what I've seen, apparently they've been around for a while. I think they're, you know, I don't know. I think they talk about MMA. That's all I really know. I've literally seen maybe 5 minutes of them when they rated my stream, and that's it. I think as Mark Madsen wins next weekend, they should really give him Gregor Gillespie. I think that'd be a fun fight, very fun stylistically. If Volk beats Islam, who's next contender for him? Maybe Oliveira or Fiziev. Probably be Fiziev if Fiziev fights Gaethje and beats him. All right. D Rest. Thank you for the $5 super chat. The MMA holes were here. Okay. Appreciate the $5 donation. I'm not sure what that means, but if you have anything else to say about the MMA holes, feel free to donate it and I will read it aloud. Now, where was I at? I think Mark Madsen wins. Okay, I read that. Who does Volk fight if he beats Islam? Probably Fiziev if he beats Gaethje in the meantime. Who do you predict Dariush versus Volk? I'd probably take Dariush, to be honest, but it's hard to say. I always shit on Aljo stand up. If he can beat Triple C, he may hold the belt for a while. Is this the Jackson from Discord? What are you talking about? Me and 20 others hate-rated MMA hold Discord in your name. Anything else you want us to do? So you're trying to pin something on me that I have no idea what you're talking about, and I've never seen you in a stream before? Cool, bro. Sweet. Joey, don't think we're okay. I'm not even reading that. You guys are saying weird shit. Maybe just don't pay attention to the tattoos. Who has... Yeah, Alan Belcher has the best tattoos. Look up Alan Belcher. Who had a better performance against Dan Hooker, Poirier, or Chandler? Definitely Chandler. Chandler knocked him out. Chandler knocked him out in the first round. Poirier had a long war with him. So... Or maybe he just don't pay. Okay. I know you don't care, but it's honestly laughable that Floyd is still. Yeah, that's why he's still just doing. Exhibitions. If Patty wins against his next fight, is he up to fight McGregor? That's how they build stars. No, I doubt they would do that matchup. Does it seem like Nick Diaz is kind of overlooked due to his bro success? Was more accomplished. Yes. But I think there's like a cult-like following for him anyway. Thoughts on Islam being ranked number 3 pound for pound? Seems high for a guy that hasn't even defended a title. Dude, the people who make the rankings are terrible. Aquafina is trash water, no hate. Okay. What's your favorite type of water, Joey? Mine is Fiji or Poland Spring. I don't know. I haven't tried a bunch. Sire Power says, oh, they won't make me want to kill myself. Okay. That's terrible. Honestly, if Volk gets the lightweight belt and defends even once, he's top 5 all time for me. I would agree. How do people differentiate water? More like the MMA bum. Okay. If you take a sip of Monster Energy water, you never drink water in your live stream again. All right. Fiziev is good. People are sleeping on that man. Yeah, I'm not sleeping on him. John Jones has the best career of all time, I guess. Okay. Jose Ortega, thank you for being a member. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know. I feel like I've just never seen that name before. I don't know. It's weird. But thank you for being a member. Maybe I'm just confused. The favorite is African Tap Water. Thank you for the 14 czar. I'm not sure what that is, but I appreciate it. Okay, where was I at? Dariush is great too. Lightweight's looking stacked. Apparently Joe is leaving when Dana is leaving. How much do you care? About a 0 out of 10. About a 0 out of 10 is how much I care. You know, so If you know, it'll be weird for a while, but it is what it is. Guys, do me a favor. If you have not yet liked the stream, like the stream. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. We do these streams all the time. MMA bum holes. I think Chandler pulls the upset. Just my opinion. Okay. What's up, John Rod? Joey. I got Chandler too. Okay, you're talking to someone else. What's your opinion on the fighting style is most effective in MMA? Stand-up, grappling, etc. I think it's well-roundedness is what really is the most effective. But, I mean, if you can grapple really well and you can get everyone down, then obviously that's super dominant. But if you can stuff takedowns and you're a very good striker, then it's very relevant as well. So it all depends. I mean, but I think the best base is to be super well-rounded. Super well-rounded. Did you think O'Malley would be able to stand up with Chito Vera, or how did you see the rematch play-by-play? Because we didn't get to see much of the last fight. End it to injury. Going into the O'Malley-Chito fight, I thought O'Malley would win that fight. I just thought he was slicker, longer, had decent power, had a decent variety of attack. While Chito was like a little bit slower, had some decent power, was gritty. Going into the rematch, I kind of feel the same, but I think Chito is just so durable. The stamina is unreal. We've seen him go 5 rounds. I think it'll be a competitive fight, and I think Chito will eventually find the finish again. And people will probably call it a fluke again. Joey, if Vera Sandhagen's probably going to fight, and Yan and Merab should fight, there's one big money fight, an easy fight. It's Cody Garbrandt fight, because I think TJ should fight Cruz a second time. Okay, sign me up. Did you see that they were doing Bellator versus Rise, and I'm actually super excited for it? Well, yeah, I did see it. I saw Josh Thompson complaining, the MMA media needs to blah, blah, blah to this fight and this and that. I mean, Josh Thompson can go fuck himself, quite honest. Quite honestly. Dude's the most annoying guy in MMA, honestly. But, yes, I did see it. I will watch it. And I enjoy all MMA. If Chandler fights tactically using his wrestling, I think he wins. I don't think he will, though. Was Ben Askren overrated or over the hill by the time he got to the UFC? Both. He was overrated and over the hill. How many wins does Volk need to be a lightweight GOAT? I'll say 3 or 4 against good top talent. Top talent, 3 or 4. Very interesting donation. Yeah, very interesting donation. I don't even know what it means, to be quite honest. Do you think Gaethje's afraid of Fiziev? Afraid, no. But does he think he can probably find a better matchup? Yes. Who would Sean O'Malley need to beat to be the elite of the elite at bantamweight and bantamweight GOAT besides Aljo? He would need to win the belt and defend a couple times, 3 or 4 times. Oh, man. Guys, did that guy ever get the job? I called the fire department repeatedly. Does anybody know if that guy ever got the job? Does anybody know? I called the fire department on his behalf. Do you think Gaethje is afraid of Fiziev? Do you think Gaethje is afraid of Fiziev? I already read that. Joey, thoughts on how stacked UFC Orlando is? Potential, it seems like it can be up there with Austin and UK events. Brunson versus Hermanson, a sneaky fight of the night. To be honest, it's a stacked card. I hate the main event. And I know people say that's a terrible take. I don't give a shit about Wonderboy Thompson versus Kevin Holland. It's a terrible fight. Both guys are, you know, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is holding his ranking hostage. And Kevin Holland is just never going to do anything at welterweight. He's been out grappled in like 4 out of his last 5 fights. He moved down to a weight class where there's more grapplers. He got dominated by Khamzat Chimaev. It's not main event worthy. Wonderboy Thompson doesn't deserve to be ranked in the top 10. And basically, I said this in my video before. If you wrestled in middle school, Wonderboy Thompson will not fight you. He will turn down the fight. So, you know, it's just annoying. I hate that as a main event. I just wish I wish something was better. I wouldn't mind Tuivasa and Pavlovich being moved to the main event. If Fiziev can't fight Gaethje, then maybe he can fight the winner of Poirier Chandler. No, he doesn't deserve that. He needs to fight Fiziev. Oh no, Fiziev can't fight Gaethje, then maybe he can fight. I see what you're saying. I thought you were saying Gaethje can fight the winner of Poirier Chandler. I better say he's already fought both of them. But yeah, if Fiziev won't fight Gaethje, fight the winner of Poirier Chandler for a title shot. MMA Joey, thoughts on Anthony having the most swag in the chat? I have zero thoughts. I could give less of a shit. And I don't even know if that's true. How many more wins does Ngannou need against what opponents in order to be the heavyweight GOAT? If he beats Jones, Stipe again, and then we'll say maybe Tom Aspinall works his way to the top. Honestly, two more dominant wins. If he beats Jones, he's right up there. The heavyweight title has not been defended much. So he's probably already right there if he beats Jones. You know what I mean? If Volk takes the light heavyweight belt, who has the skills to stop him at lightweight? Could be, I'd pick Fiziev over Volk, unfortunately. Does Chandler, Dustin, and Justin want to fight anyone except each other? It seems like not. I mean, I'm tired. That's why I hate Wonderboy Thompson so much. I'm just tired of him holding a ranking spot hostage. It's super annoying. I want the UFC to make Font versus Yanez. What's taking so long? It's a barn burner to fight. No clue. Can you see UFC booking Yan versus Font? Both guys are on 2-fight losing skids. I mean, they better give Yan a favorable matchup in his next. Just give him an easy matchup in his next fight because he deserves to just get an easy matchup. He's won every fight and somehow he keeps losing on the scorecards. If you could make one fight from any time period, what would it be for me? It'd be Fedor DC. Probably John Jones, Anderson Silva, or GSP Anderson Silva. Is Merab an easy fight to get Piotr back on track, or is it more competitive? I wouldn't say it's an easy fight, but I would favor Yan to win that fight. And I would like that matchup as well. Merab versus Yan, who wins? I take Yan. Merab has god-awful striking. He just wants to hold you against the cage and knees you. And knee you nonstop. Justin isn't afraid of little Fiziev. He fought Tony when he was a boogeyman on short notice. I never said he was afraid. He just doesn't seem like he wants to fight. Okay. He said, "I'm not no stepping stone." Well, how do you not become a stepping stone? Win your fights. Does Stipe ever fight again, or would you be okay with him retiring? Dude, Stipe, in my mind, Stipe has been retired for like 4 years now. I mean, he's fought once a year for like the last, however long, and then he hasn't fought at all this year. He fought early in 2021 and then hasn't fought since. Stipe's been retired. I don't ever want to say Stipe fight again. And that's why I never got to make a video on it. I told you guys on stream before. I have no desire to see John Jones versus Stipe Miocic ever. Ever. If Stipe Miocic wins that fight, it ruins the heavyweight division. And he could win the fight. So who wants to see that? Stipe's going to beat Jones and then sit out for another 2 years. Stipe can keep being a fireman. And whenever we call the fire department, we'll get Stipe Miocic coming to our houses to put out the flames. That's what he can continue to do. Justin isn't okay. Read that. I hope DC doesn't take Joe Rogan's spot when he leaves. I mean, I hate DC's commentary. I hate Joe Rogan's commentary. I wish there was an option. The UFC 280 broadcast started with an error, and we had no commentary. We just had crowd noise and octagon noise. I would pay an extra $15 a month to have that option on my ESPN Plus. I would love to not have commentary. What's next for Gane? He seems to be tough in spot in the rankings. I don't know. He just beat Tuivasa. I would probably match him up with Curtis Blades. I think that makes the most sense. Khabib can and may go down as best coach in MMA. It's too early to tell. Even though lost all of them, the Holland has a crazy list of names he's fought. Yeah, but he's lost all of them, so what's it matter? What's the most damage you ever saw a fighter take visually, beating cuts, bruises, etc.? I don't remember. Rory McDonald in the Robbie Lawler fight was pretty bad, though. Stephen Wonderboy Thomas, okay. Thoughts on the weird amount of coaches who groom their female students from childhood? Actually, a big issue. I haven't paid super close attention to it, but that's super weird. Joey, to be honest, Orlando, I think Thompson outclasses Holland on the feet for the majority of it. And what you said on Tuivasa versus Pavlovich, 100% higher ranks on the line and 2 KO artists. Yeah, I hate Wonderboy versus Holland, but I'm in the minority. The better fights at lightweight is Islam versus Beneil. Brutally spelled Beneil. That's the worst spelling of Beneil I've ever seen in my entire life, Vince. I agree, though. But you got to learn how to spell Beneil better than that. Best division in the UFC, without a doubt, 135 pounds. Who retired first, Stipe or Conor? I don't know. Conor hasn't won a fight since hasn't won a lightweight fight in the last 6 years, going on 7. So I'll say Conor retired in 2016. Petr needs to go to PFL and get that $1 million. Could you imagine? Could you imagine how many $1 million prizes Petr Yan would win in PFL? I just say they do Jones and Ngannou in March. That's what I've been saying for months. I never wanted the Jones Stipe fight. I might still make that video. I've been wanting to make that video for a couple weeks. But maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. Do you think John Jones beats Curtis Blades? Yes, but it'd be very interesting. Joey, has Josh Thompson ever did anything significant in his career instead of getting brutally KO'd by Yves Edwards, butchered by Tony, and have fight of the year with Gilbert Melendez, which he lost? He's the only guy to KO Nate Diaz, pretty much. That's pretty much it. Josh Thompson's irrelevant. Nobody even likes him in the MMA community. What does it say for Khabib now that Islam just destroyed Oliveira? It says that Khabib would have beat him as well. They need to introduce an interim again at heavyweight. Ngannou isn't fighting anytime soon. You don't know that. Are you a fan of Wisconsin? I'm not a fan of any volleyball team ever, and I never will be. Heavyweight's going to die even more because dude, the inactivity's been going on for 10 years. So it's not going to die anytime soon. It's literally been going on for 10 years. Ben Neil Dariush. Terrible spelling as well. Dude, holy fuck, bro. Really spelled it Benile. Yeah, I was disturbed when I saw that. I was really disturbed. Why go in on the home events like that? I don't know. I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it, man. It's to me, it's not very pleasing. I think that's how you spell it right there, off the top of my head. But let me take a look. It's Ben E-I-L. Ben E-I-L. So I spelled it wrong as well. It's Ben E-I-L. There you go. That's how you spell it. That's how you spell it. Why go? Okay, damn, Joey cooked him. My bad. Would you still hate Wonderboy versus Holland if it wasn't a main event? Nowhere near as much. Do you think Islam Benil, aka Benal, would be a better fight than Islam Volk? Maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. I like the fact that Volk wants to go up and try to get that second belt. I like that a lot. Could Prime Tony Ferguson beat Prime Nate Diaz? Absolutely, 100%. Prime Tony Ferguson would beat the brakes off of Prime Nate Diaz. Do you feel like RDA has paid his due and now should be free to make fun, winnable matchups just for money like Wonderboy? I mean, as long as you're going to do that outside the rankings, I'm okay with it. But if you're going to hold a top 10 spot hostage, I don't wish to see it. I don't wish to see it at all whatsoever. It's super annoying and infuriating, actually. So I think RDA is still in the rankings, but maybe not for long. We will see. Only time will tell. Stipe is fighting one more time. I don't see him missing out on another payday. Yeah, I mean, he's probably fighting one more and then retiring. He gets KO'd and retired. I always thought it was Benil. Yeah, I mean, that's at least close. The other way was just completely butchered. I respect Gastelum, but how is he still headlining cards? I think he's still one of the best middleweights in the world, but it is kind of weird that he's like on a massive losing streak. What's up, Andy? Why are they screwing Dariush? Give this man a title shot. They're not. They think Volk. I mean, it's a super fight. Of course, they're going to put it together. Which fight do you think was Tony Ferguson's best performance? RDA. When he fought RDA in his prime, I thought he was going to lose to RDA, and he went out there and just savagely beat up RDA and walked him down. Josh Thompson eye against GSP was nasty. He must have landed 1,000 jabs. Josh Thompson never fought GSP, dude. What are you talking about, Vince? Are you drunk right now? You're talking about Josh Koscheck. I can't even answer that question. Ben Neil Dariush. Dariush is himself no favors. He's going to fight anyone. He needs to break down Dana's door and demand a title shot. Dana will gladly give him 10 more fights if Benil is willing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he needs to complain and hold out, But he should have called for a title shot, at least made the case on the mic. He should have said, I want the winner of Oliveira Islam. I would whoop both their asses and blah, 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 and amen and all that good shit. Point at the sky and blah. I was 4 times sleeping B champ. Okay, I can't even read this stuff. You're giving me a brain aneurysm. GSP was Habib in their primes. Who wins? GSP versus Habib in their prime. Who wins? GSP. GSP would pump the jab and beat him up and avoid the takedowns. Cejudo versus O'Malley. Who would be more of a super fight than Ngannou versus Jones? Thoughts? No, absolutely not. A super fight is 2 champions fighting each other. I can't even believe that. Okay, real quick, because I put these in the title and then I have people complaining I didn't talk about it, even though we kind of talked about it. Let's recap UFC 280 real quick. Let's recap UFC 280. We'll recap most of the fights. Muhammad Mokaev, Malcolm Gordon. Muhammad Mokaev gets a 3rd round submission. For me, the hype's too much on Makhachev right now, or Mokaev, however you pronounce it. To have a competitive fight with Malcolm Gordon, you're not ready to be the youngest champion. That's my takeaway. Yes, did he get a slick submission in the 3rd round? That armbar was beautiful. But you can't be calling out guys like Brandon Royval, who are scramble kings, and Amir Albazi when you're having competitive fights with Malcolm Gordon. Armin Petrosian, H.A. Dobson, I don't even have nothing to say. Not a great fight. Volkan Ozdemir, Nikita Krylov. That was a fun fight. I picked Volkan Ozdemir. I was wrong again on Volkan Ozdemir. Nikita Krylov gets it done. He got brutally hurt badly early, almost finished multiple times early, but he came back, super gritty, out-wrestled Ozdemir. Ozdemir had good scrambles early, but then eventually he's just too tired, couldn't fight off the wrestling anymore. Nikita Krylov wins by decision. Makhmed Muradov versus Caio Borralho, or Borralho, I think is how you pronounce his name. This is similar to Makhachev fight in a way, because a lot of people very high on Caio, but that fight was way too competitive. Caio got the decision win. He won the majority of the grappling exchanges, but Makhmed, at times, he was scrambling out, ended up in top position. I'm not ready to see Caio Borralho fight anyone in the top 15 at middleweight after that performance. Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady. Bilal looked phenomenal in this fight. The striking of Sean Brady is just atrocious. The cardio of Sean Brady still doesn't look that great, even though he said it was a nose injury. I took his word for it on that. And Bilal, say what you will about Bilal. He's cringy. He's annoying. But Bilal looked incredible. He was walking Sean Brady down, beating him up, landing good shots. And anybody who called that an early stoppage is delusional. Okay? He landed, must have been 50 shots with no reaction from Brady. Brady just trying to do everything in his power just to keep on his feet. So, for me, Bilal Muhammad, right up there in contention for a number 1 contender spot in the welterweight division. Great performance against a quality opponent like Sean Brady. Caitlin Chukagi and Manon Fior. I don't really got nothing to say about that. It was a close fight. Fior outstruck her. She won a decision. Beneil Dariush, Mateus Gamrot, or Mateusz Gamrot. I'm not sure how you pronounce it anymore. I think this was the best performance of the night from Beneil. The way he scrambled out all those positions, Gamrot took him down multiple times. Beneil was scrambling. Beneil dropped him, I think it was in the 3rd round. I don't know how he didn't put Gamrot out with that punch. Beneil looked incredible in this fight, kept Gamrot off of him, scrambled constantly, showed good stamina, good durability, good striking, good grappling, good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu, everything under the sun. Beneil Dariush deserves a lightweight title shot. Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley, brutal robbery, disgusting. Yan won all 3 rounds. 2nd round was not close. 1st round, 3rd round, I thought it was clearly Petr Yan. All O'Malley did in the 3rd round was land that knee. Brutal robbery, not Sean O'Malley's fault. Sean O'Malley did answer some questions about his durability, about his heart, about his skill set. He looked very good against the number 1 contender guy in the world, the number 1 guy in the world. But at the same time, he lost the fight 30-27, in my opinion. And you should not be elevated off of a loss like that. It's disgusting that the rankings people put him in the number 1 contender spot. And I believe he will not get a title shot because the UFC knows what's going to happen to him against a guy like Aljamain Sterling. For Petr Yan, I feel terrible for him. Dude's 1-3 in his last 4 fights. Should be 4-0. It's actually kind of sad. No matter what, the next fight for these guys is a big fight. This fight should have been 5 rounds. It should have been 5 rounds. And had it been 5 rounds, we wouldn't have this controversy. Co-main event, Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw. Honestly, I don't really care about it too much. It doesn't answer any questions. It's meaningless. TJ came in with an injury. Aljo exploited it and beat the living shit out of him. It takes away from the fans. It takes away from the performance of Sterling. It takes away from TJ as well. It's just a meaningless fight. Main event, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. What a dominant performance by Islam Makhachev. He went out there and outstruck Charles Oliveira. He went out there and outgrappled Charles Oliveira. And he went out there and finished Charles Oliveira via submission in the second round. Islam Makhachev is not a boring fighter. Anybody calling Islam Makhachev a boring fighter deserves to be slapped in the face. They couldn't be more wrong. Islam's constantly finishing fights. So because he's not getting rocked every now and again and getting slapped and dropped to the ground every fight, he's a boring fighter. Islam is a very exciting fighter. He's a very fun fighter to watch. And if you're out there calling him a boring fighter, you're delusional and you're incredibly biased against him, and you're incredibly biased against grapplers would be my best guess, because there's nothing boring about Islam. He just went out there, dropped and hurt Charles, and then submitted him easily. How is that boring? How is that boring? Dude went out there as one of the biggest killers in the lightweight division and made it look easy. I don't get how you can call that boring at all. I really don't. Okay, so there you go. And Islam Makhachev will be fighting Alexander Volkanovski in his next fight in Perth, Australia, UFC 284 in February. Incredible matchup, super fight, champion versus champion. I feel bad for Dariush, but at the same time, if Volk wants it, Volk deserves it. Dude's put in a lot of work at the 145-pound division, so give it to him. What fight do you think Tony Ferguson... Already answered that. Okay. Why is the UFC keeping Tony Ferguson around? That does it for the recap, by the way. There you go. I did the recap. Why is the UFC keeping Tony Ferguson around? I guess because he did him a favor last fight card. Josh Thompson's eye. Okay, read that. GSP versus... Already read that. Vince with his girl right now, he out of it. Yeah. Do you think Fialho is any good? Dude fought like 5 times this year. I think he's pretty good. Will he be a top 15? Probably not. Do you think Dariush Hare will probably become full light before he gets a title shot? Dariush will look like a full-blown Santa Claus before he gets a title shot, probably. Love Beneil, can't help but believe the UFC intended to give him back on track fight for Tony. Initially, Tony going after Beneil for no reason at the press conference won me as a Beneil fan. Fair enough. Dariush fights winner of Fiziev and Gaethje for next title shot. Sign me up. The Punk did flatline Nate with a head kick. Nate's corner throw in the towel. Yes, they did. Prime Mousasi versus Israel. Israel would dominate him, even in his prime. Thoughts on Dana White saying challenge him to a... No. I have no thoughts on that. Challenge him to a real UFC fight or WWE match. Dana's choice. Crazy. I don't know, man. I never even heard of that. Who are the 5 fighters that have better scrambles than Beneil Dariush? I don't know. Sarukian and Gamrot both have great... both have great scrambles. So, what's your favorite overall fight card you've ever watched? Off the top of my head, UFC 189 comes to mind. Hold on. Gamrot will be back. That he will. Was Gamrot's chin testing against Beneil? What could have Gamrot have done better to win this fight? He's got to improve his striking. Aljo versus TJ was a waste of time. Islam is a boring fighter. You're delusional. I don't like Volk versus Islam, but I'm okay with it as long as they don't make Cejudo versus Volk after that. Agreed. Who has a better chance versus Volkanovski? Oliveira, Makhachev. What fight do you think favors a knockout? Who has a better chance versus Volkanovski or Taker? I think Makhachev is more likely to beat Volkanovski. I think Oliveira Volkanovski is more likely to be a knockout. Okay, let me see if I missed anything real quick, because I kind of lost my spot. I think I got everything. I think I got pretty much everything. Hope Guram gets a good fight soon. Dude arguably beat Gamrot and thought he won that Demir fight. Guram did get a win over Gamrot, but he really didn't. But yeah, Guram arguably beat Demir. Joey, I heard if Izzy's successful at 281, the UFC will give him a green light on another super fight against a new light heavyweight champion, Yuri. I would love that, but Yuri will dirt Israel Adesanya. Is UFC 281 card any good? Yes, it is. I'll make my video grading UFC 281 early next week. It'll be out early next week. Do you think they'll make Oliveira versus Gamrot next? I wouldn't mind seeing that either. But no, probably not. Probably not, but it's possible. It's possible. No matter what, I think Charles Oliveira might get like a decently favorable matchup in UFC Brazil. I think that's what they'll probably do. Just said arguable because that's fight with Gamrot could have gone either way. I enjoy Brett Okamoto interviews. Do you? Not really. I don't watch a whole lot of interviews though, but it's all right. I mean, unless they're really important. MMA Joey meet and greet. Yeah, everyone come to Baltimore. Maybe they'll have another UFC pay-per-view here. They had a pay-per-view here before. But it ended up being the last one, and that was in 2014. So it's been 8 years, and they have not come back to Baltimore. So if they come back to Baltimore and and have a UFC pay-per-view here, I will definitely be going. I wonder how many of you guys would come to Baltimore. I might go to Las Vegas or MSG next year, and I'll let you guys know if I do. And then we can all meet up, and you guys can wear name tags with your channel name on it. How does that sound? How does that sound? What would Oliveira need to do to have another title shot? Who does he need to beat in a row? I think he needs to get like 1 or 2 impressive wins. 1 or 2 impressive wins, and I think he'd get another title shot. So which interviews do you feel like were important enough to watch? I don't even remember, to be quite honest. I watched the Oliveira interview. It was like 3 minutes long with Brett Okamoto. That was one I thought. I can't remember any other ones, to be quite honest. Guys, do me a favor if you have not already. Like the stream. I would greatly appreciate it if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go. But if you have any final questions, throw them in the chat. I would greatly appreciate it. If you have any last minute questions before I go, throw them in the chat. And then I got to work on some other stuff later and maybe have a video later tonight. If you go to Vegas, I will be there in my Venom gear. That's the real question. If I go to Las Vegas for a UFC pay-per-view, who's showing up in Venom gear? Let me know in the chat. Give me a yes in the chat if you would show up to Vegas in your Venom gear to go to a UFC pay-per-view if we had a meet up there. I've said this before. Why wear name tags when we already have our custom Venom gear with our names on it? JJ Smoke, you're like 16 years old. You wouldn't even come to Las Vegas. You wouldn't even be allowed. Once Oliveira gets those 1-2 wins, what should his game plan be going into the Makhachev rematch? I don't know, man. I didn't like the clinch work from Oliveira. I didn't know why he was clinching. I didn't know why he was clinching up. He knew that's where he had a disadvantage. Yes, still think it's wild. Cyril openly ducked blades. I don't think that's open. Venom gear and rock shoes. Yeah, you got to be wearing the rock shoes as well. You can't be missing the rock shoes. Absolutely not. I'm going to Anderson Silva. Ugh. Who would go to that? I would never want to go to that. Ever, 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 ever. I'm not going to be talking about that at all this weekend, but apparently a lot of other people will be. So, bro exposing me in front of 60 people. My bad, bro. He said the post-fight presser he doesn't want that fight. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Here's an idea: the best 5 pay-per-view of the year. Maybe, I don't know, man. I had a lot of stuff to try to do. I don't know if that's one of them. I'm bad at making top 5 lists of anything. All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. I'll probably have a video later tonight. I got to run. Thank you guys for joining me. Don't forget to like the stream. Don't forget to subscribe. Go watch my prediction for this Saturday. Calvin Kattar versus Arnold Allen in the main event. Go check that out. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to post the link here in the chat. Go watch that video right now. Like it, comment on it. Help boost it in the algorithm. If you want to help the channel, go watch that video right now. I would greatly appreciate that. And I will see you guys later. Appreciate you guys joining the live chat. Thanks for all the questions, and good night.